Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Backtracks. This is our third episode. If you've tuned in for the previous two, you know I've had my wife, Jen Polvogt, and a close friend from high school on for my first two episodes. Had a blast with them. But today I have one of my best friends in the whole world, someone I've known for a couple years, got me into doing all of this. Honestly, without him, there's no way I'm doing any of the things I'm doing right now. It's the one and only, the editor-in-chief, the owner, the CEO, if you will, of In Between Media, Seth Woolock. Seth, buddy, how are you tonight, man?
Nate, I am doing stellar, man. Thursday night, we got alumni weekend coming up, going back to my
Ooh.
hometown. Gonna be a good old time back there. So, tonight's the pregame for it. I'm looking forward to talking with you, talking about music that really shaped this company, shaped me as a human being, and just, chilling with you is always a good time, bro.
Well, it's funny because I think people see us in the industry together and figure like, yeah, no, they work together.
Yeah.
Okay. They're part of this company together. But what I think people don't understand is how close we've actually gotten in the last 2 years. So I've told the story of how we met. I have a short version, a long version, but I want to hear your version of it because I don't think I've ever heard
Yeah.
you tell it.
Yeah. So, man, this is probably like June. We launched the company June 10th of last year, and got a couple weeks into it, and knew after I got my first couple pieces of content out there that we wanted to, find some new writers, find some new talent, and just reached out and uh, put something out on Twitter, made a graphic. Hey, looking for writers and editors. Probably one of the worst graphics in the world, looking back at it, but it was enough to catch your attention, and you were actually the only one to DM me from it. I think you had about like 19 followers, 30 followers at the time, and
Oh, dude, I don't even think I had. I think I maybe had like 15,
yeah,
maybe,
yeah,
if
it
that.
wasn't. I knew I followed you. I don't know why I followed you, but I remember I saw a tweet, so I followed you. I thought it was a good tweet. Gave you the follow, and then just kind of reached out to you, and then we talked one morning. You seemed like an awesome dude, and from there it was wheels up, buddy.
Yeah, so I remember that first conversation, thinking that you were so much older than you were. What did you? How did you perceive me? I've always wondered this. Like,
I mean, you're pretty straightforward. You're like, yeah, I used to be a chef. I do. You're not a real estate. You're not a no. You're not a realtor. You're a real estate agent. We're not getting
yes,
confused
that's
here.
correct.
You told me you're a real estate agent, and you love fantasy football. You've never really wrote, but you wanted to give it a try. Told me about your family. You're a football family, and I don't know, man. You're a pretty straight shooter, Nate. So I felt that pretty early on in that conversation, in that relationship. So.
Well, I think so. I remember you had the powerful playlists
Mhm.
because you had asked me, go on our site, read some of our stuff, tell me what you think. And I remember reading your powerful playlist and thinking, okay, see, I can get on board with this because I love music.
Right,
Obviously, as you know now, I
right.
have a music show. But that was it was cool for me and to see like your taste is very eclectic. Mac Miller, for
Oh, yeah.
instance, is a big one for you. So I asked you to give me 3 songs that were important and had something to do with your journey. We're You're kind of all over the place. You've got a very wide range of musical taste, which I appreciate. Kind of like you put in our graphic for this show, Gen Z to millennial taste is kind of where you
Yeah.
float. And I would say even older. You kind of go back to some Gen X stuff, I think, too, would be fair to say.
You're Gen X, right? Or would you consider yourself Gen X?
I'm like right on the border of Gen X and millennial. So I was born in
Okay. Okay.
82. So I'm technically a millennial, but most
Okay.
people my age are like, do not call me a millennial.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
Generation X. I grew up on Nirvana and Soundgarden and all of that. So Mac Miller was one that I've seen pop up a lot. Eric Church
Mhm.
as well. We'll get to him in a minute. But this song specifically, so the one that you gave me was BDE Bonus, which best day ever
Yeah.
bonus.
Yep. Best day
Okay,
ever bonus. Yep.
correct.
Um,
So tell me about this song.
yeah. So it actually comes from his originally it was a mixtape, Best Day Ever. And he has a original version of this song, and Best Day Ever, man. BD bonus. It just the way it kind of kicks in. We can play a little bit of it here in a minute, but the way it kind of just kicks in, man. It's I can't really explain it, but the intro of this song, the first 30 seconds, are unlike any song I'd ever heard in my life at that time. And Mac Miller overall, I mean, the guy was just at this time in his life, he was very high spirited, motivational, inspirational in a way. But also, taught you to kind of enjoy it while you, go through this journey of life. And that's kind of what I felt like BDE Bonus was. And it was one of those that I was probably about, I don't know, 12, 13, first time I heard it. And I was just like, wow, this separates Mac Miller from a lot of other artists out there.
I want to, at 12 to 13 years old, for you to have the maturity to see that in a song and recognize what for you drew it away from everything else. First of all, is very impressive, but it speaks to who you are as a person, I think. So when I listened to this song, it reminded me of you. The biggest thing was it's really like a hard work anthem, chasing success.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is
Absolutely.
something which I watch you do obviously every day.
Yeah, man, and that's kind of the cool thing about Mac Miller is his discography. He starts out this very wide-eyed, super upbeat guy, and you see him through each album go through a different stage in his life. It gets darker and darker, kind of the more he gets sucked into Hollywood, the fame life. It's not all bread and butter like he thought it was going to be, and you really see that in his music. And I think we all kind of go through that at different times in our lives as well. On this journey of IBT, before that in college, there's always rough patches where you think, is this really going to work out? And I thought by the end of Mac Miller's discography, we kind of started to figure out, okay, things do get better. You got to pick yourself back up. You're going to go through a lot of shit in life, whether it's personal relationships, professional, whatever it is. You're going to go through a lot of shit, but you could come back from it. And that's why at the end of Mac's discography, very, very just enlightening, came back a little bit.
So, and I like that. We know each other very well. We've both been through some shit, so I can 100% identify with what he's saying in here. Where it's like, life is hard. Life can be very hard. As charmed as everything that we get to do right now seems, I mean, we are essentially working in sports media at this point, which is awesome, but life's still hard. It doesn't necessarily mean that everything's easy for us. And this song reminded me of, I don't know if you're familiar with Atmosphere.
No, I'm not.
You should get familiar with Atmosphere. Very similar to his vibe, but I listened to that song and I felt you
I
when I listened
appreciate
to
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we throw her on?
Yeah, pop it on.
All right, let's see out there. This is BD Bonus, Mac Miller.
I never take a day off, work around the clock, my engineer getting paid off, rock like Ace up, like the weed to take off, so high I cannot see, 8 off, now I got these rappers all breaking up a sweat, cause every time I get up on the mic I come correct, and I learned it from the best, always dressing something fresh, with the 4 L dime, big butt and nice chest. Yes, they heard I used to rock, yes, but now I'm rocking clothes that ain't in the stores yet. Travel back in time.
I can't see you wearing Guess though.
No,
that's one thing I can't see.
I mean, and just like right there, that this part right here, man. Listen. Jets. Buzzing like that. Like that lyric play is very good. That is very good. The lyrics in it met with the beat on this song absolutely kill it. And it's one of those, Nate, that I've loved for the last 10 years of my life, and it's still you know how Apple has like the music review every year. You can see what songs you listen to. This is my top 10 every single year, and there hasn't been a song, there's ones that come and go.
That's kind of like how Deftones are for me. Honestly, I listen to them at least once a week, but it's their entire library. Okay, so Mac Miller was the first one. We've got a second song that you brought to the table. Yes, this one I was a little less thrilled. Oh, by the way, I didn't really know Mac Miller before this. Really dug that song, so I'm going to kind of dive into his discography. If you promise to dive into Atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's all you got to promise me.
Absolutely,
okay, I'll send you a link to some stuff after the show.
Yeah, certainly.
Okay, so Eric Church. Another one, I think I actually did a trivia question through the In Between Media account about this.
Okay.
And no one answered, but Eric Church was your most used artist in your powerful playlist over the history of the column. I
Wow.
think you used him
That's
7 or
impressive.
8
That's
times.
impressive. You went back through all columns, man.
Hey
That
man,
is,
I'm all about the research and working hard here. That's why you hired me, right?
yes, sir.
So specifically the song Talladega you made me listen to from Eric Church. Let's talk about this one. What I know about Talladega is shake and bake.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that's about all. That's
Ricky
about
Bobby, baby. Yeah.
little Ricky Bobby. That's about all I've got.
So it's funny, man, because like picking 3 songs to define, just kind of your journey in life and just songs that you want to share with the world. It's a lot more difficult. In my powerful playlist column, we do it every so often too. And I pick 9 songs. I let the reader pick the last one. So try to be interactive a little bit with it. But it's difficult to pick songs, and to pick 3 songs was incredibly hard. And when you look at Eric Church's collection, it is insane. Just so many good songs, so many ones who have honestly shaped my life. But Talladega, I think, is a song everyone can get behind a little bit, man. Of course, people hear that, they think, okay, this is a NASCAR song, paying homage to one of the
Sure.
best tracks. But that's not what I think of when I think of this song. This song tells the story of 5 best friends, the summer before the real world started, is kind of how Eric lays it out for you. And, that just hits so hard because I can definitely remember a summer in my life when I had 5 or 6 best friends and we did everything together. Every night we were doing something. And, a lot of the times it was stupid shit, but, it shapes your life. And, but it ends so quickly. If it be, I wish I could just go back and be like, dude, just soak this in. Like, this is the last time you all are going to be together. And so I think that's what this song's really about, Nate. And I mean, just an absolute banger.
Well, so okay, I listen to it and I always appreciate lyrics and the story that a song is trying to tell, regardless of genre and whether or not I like the genre.
Yeah.
This was really very much like remembering good times. And like there was one line where he talked about, I wish I could go back to Talladega. Like,
Yeah.
and I understand I understand that. Maybe not so much as some people do. To be honest, I hated high school and I couldn't have gotten out of there quick enough.
Absolutely.
So I was stoked to be on to the real world. I made better friends, very questionable decisions.
Yeah, I mean, we all do at that age.
We all do. But then I can also identify with it on the level where I think about like the Expo at Canton last year.
Yeah.
I know this year is going to be awesome, but last year was different because this year we have responsibilities.
Yeah.
Last year it was just a party. And I understand that because I'm always going to be very sentimental about that time that we had in Canton.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it was the first time we met in person.
Yeah, and it's those moments, man, that make songs like Talladega so strong, I think. And oh, dude, just absolutely. I mean, Eric Church is one of those people. If you like self-reflection, he has a whole catalog for that. If you want to get up and have a good time and swing around a little bit, Eric Church is great for that too. He has a little bit of everything. And I think he's one of the true last old school pioneers of country today. I mean, he's definitely gotten a little more soulful over the years and a little more poppy, but I mean, it's still great music and just hits like no other. Hits like no other, brother.
He is a talented musician. That's never been my knock on country. I think my issue with country is like, it's very simple and it's probably really stupid. But I grew up on because my grandfather. I grew up on Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Hank Williams, the original Hank Williams. So for me, that was always what country was supposed to sound like. And then when like Garth Brooks and Kenny Chesney and I can't even think it's like some of these other acts, Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
it was so poppy that I just didn't process in my brain. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, and like when I first started listening to country, it was around 2012, and the music from 2012 to now is completely different. And at first, I definitely thought it going more R&B and pop, but now there's been so many people have kind of taken country and made it their own, whatever that means.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's doing mashups on TikTok or whether it's some people still have the old school style, or it's adding R&B and rap to it. There's a lot you can do with country music, and Eric Church, he holds that old school ways, but I mean, just the lyrics. He writes all his own songs. He went up to North Carolina a couple years ago actually and wrote 2 whole albums. Just like him and his band were in this like remote cabin during COVID, you know. And
That's awesome. I love
yeah,
that. That's so rare these days too. So many people have writers for almost every aspect of their music. So I respect that. And
yeah,
like I said, I respect pretty much all musicians. Doesn't matter what the genre is. I'm going to give Eric Church another try.
yeah. Let's throw Talladega on,
All
give
right.
the people a little bit what we can find here.
I love that they're under caution. So I'm assuming this is actually Talladega.
This is actually Talladega, yeah.
Okay. I love the dude with the leaf blower. That's awesome.
Man, but like just man, I don't know, man. That just hits hard. Hits absolutely hard.
Well, that's what we're trying to get here. I want the one that's gonna make you cry, man. Come on,
Dude,
now.
that is
Let's
probably
go.
like I'm gonna be going back to my hometown this weekend, and I got a whole playlist for when I head back there of just songs to reminisce, and that's one that'll be on, brother. And like if a tear comes out, that's when it would come out. Talladega.
I love it. I love it. You have to send me a picture when it happens.
Oh, no, I'm good on that, brother.
All right, so we're gonna get to the last one you sent me, and this is another song I'd never heard. Seth, you were just like broadening my horizons as far as music goes, and I love it. So the next one that you sent me is "Days Go By" Mike.
Yeah, absolute banger off the Highs album from last year. And Nate, you've probably never heard of Mike before this, have you?
Nope, sure haven't.
Have you ever heard of he used to go by a different name. He was under Mike Stud for a while.
Nope.
Okay, like 5 to 10 years ago, Mike Stud was a very just like a white boy rapper, went to Duke, played baseball at Duke, like a very party scene rapper guy. And he's kind of just changed his sound. And I didn't find him until like last year. And if you hear this song, and just all his music, I think it's almost like, how would you describe it, Nate? First time you just kind of listened to it.
It's got like a hip hop R&B-ish feel to it, but like mellow, probably more along like the R&B side of things, but like that 90s 2000s R&B, not like Aretha Franklin R&B. Obviously that goes without saying.
To me, it's almost like a Hawaiian country in a way too, though.
Interesting. That's interesting.
He went on, basically what had happened is he, was so deep in Hollywood for all these years, kind of lost who he was, but found this new way of music. He takes a lot of inspiration from Post Malone. Him and Post are good friends. And
interesting.
Basically he left LA during right before COVID happened and was traveling around basically as a nomad. They would get an Airbnb somewhere, made a whole documentary about it. Great watch too. But they went to Hawaii for a while and just completely changed his sound. His music from 2021, 2020 sounds nothing like his music 2019. It is, and everything before that.
Interesting. I love that. So there's a totally different genre, completely absolutely opposite genre. But there's a band that I grew up on, this punk rock band called Propaganda, and they were kind of like a sloppy 3-chord punk with a really super heavy political message from Canada, right? Still listen to them. They're old, like their first 2 albums, I still listen to fairly regularly.
Mm-hmm.
They're still around. I found them a couple of years ago, like 5-6 years ago on Instagram, because I just hadn't thought of them in a while, outside of listening to them. Are they still around? I assumed they had broken up. They are now a prog, tech bath metal band.
Wow. Okay.
Same name.
Yeah.
But I think it's so interesting how you'll start out, because it sounds like for him, he started out as a white rapper.
Yeah.
But then as he got older and more mature, it's maybe this isn't my sound. Maybe I'd rather do something else with it.
Yeah. And he's completely done that. And a lot of it, he's very versatile too. Like this song is more of a, for me, like a little bit of a reflection, happy song. I would play when the sun was going down, just kind of the end to a good day. But he has stuff that also kind of get you up and going, and then like just more reflective stuff. And it's really interesting too, just overall, this album was kind of out of nowhere. No one really saw this coming. Didn't do a lot of promotion before it, and then just bang in your face. And I think it describes a little bit about my life too. Just, I feel like over the years I've kind of mellowed out even a little bit more as time has gone. Probably even since you've met me, Nate. I definitely was
dude,
a little higher strung, and I think you get to a certain point, like, yeah, I'm hungry. I'm as hungry as I was 2 years ago when we started this ride. But at the end of the day, too, you have to be content with it. You have to, days are going to go by, and you have to, live in it for what it is. And it's not supposed to be easy. And I think that's part of it. And that's what Mike kind of says in the song.
Well, there was one specific line that I wrote down. These days I'm trying to find out who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That line, I think almost anyone can identify with that. Because if you say you know exactly who you are, you're probably lying to yourself, more than likely. But this, that was such a theme of this song, was finding yourself, living in the moment was a big one. Like, be in the here and now, and you'll figure some of this stuff out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just, I credit you for taking that away from this song, never really hearing this artist. And yeah, I mean, I think that's part of this whole journey that we're on right now, man, is, we always want to get to be, and we talk about it all the time here in our writing, in our podcast, whatever we're doing, we always want to get to B. We're at A, but you got to enjoy that in between time. And that's kind of what he's saying, man. Like, days go by, take it for what it is, and keep moving forward, baby.
Yep. And that's a really good motto to live by in general, whether you want to listen to this song or not. Life's going to happen. Sometimes you just got to roll with it and be willing to pivot. And I think that's something that we talk about a lot with In Between. That's a big premise. Like, that's life, man. Be flexible. It's also a really good draft strategy. If you're in Scott Fishbowl, be flexible.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Well, why don't you throw it up? I kind of want to hear it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do this.
Oh, why it's been hard for me to stay in one place. Yeah, days go by. I've been trying to run away from what I know. Don't know where I'm going, but I do know why.
Man, mullets are like coming back so hard.
Oh yeah, look at all. Yeah, these dogs are ripping it.
Dude, I would have been so cool in second grade. Right now, I had the sweetest mullet.
Right here, right. Okay, so I think this is really, really strong here.
But I don't know where I'm going, but I do know why. I've been looking up, I've been looking down. Yeah. Even with the parties trying to look around.
Yeah, I mean, that's good, bro.
Trying not to drown. Think I'm getting tired of the running around. None of it hit like it used to, baby. None of it.
It's growth, man. That's what this song's about. It's about growth. It's about living in the now. So, I mean, Nate, I think you would like him a lot. He has a podcast, the YNK, like oh man, I don't even know what the acronym is for now, but he had Baker Mayfield on a couple weeks ago too, if you remember.
Oh wow.
Okay.
That's awesome. Okay. No, I've never heard of him before. You sent this to me. I had no clue who he was. I'm kind of booked out on podcasts right now. We started binging Jordan Harbinger, and that's literally all we listen to. But I'll check it out. I'll look into it. Especially if he had Baker Mayfield on. That's pretty cool.
Listen to this album first. Play it for Jen. I think Jen, your wife, I think she would really enjoy it. Just the chill vibes. Like, once you guys put the kid to bed, if you're just enjoying a drink or a cigar out on the patio, that's one I would just throw on, man. That whole album, you can let that album play, and you're going to find some bangers on it that you like.
That's awesome. I love it. I'm a big fan of because like with Mac Miller, I will listen to entire albums. You kind of have to do that with musicians, unless it's
I think
Nickelback.
The best ones you have to, like if
right. I said like good ones, but not Nickelback.
Yeah, all three of these artists that we've had, talked about tonight, Mac Miller, Eric Church, Mike. These are all guys that they're good albums. And for Mac and Eric, they have a long collection of albums that, 5 or 6, you can just go through the entire thing. Mike has to get there still, but I think he will.
So, of these 3 artists, who would you say is the most influential to you?
Definitely Mac. I mean, Mac definitely above all of them. Coming from Pittsburgh, Mac
He's a
Miller
PA
did.
boy.
Yeah, he's a PA guy, so he talks a lot about things, the Blue Slide Park in Pittsburgh. PA Nights is one of his best songs, and that's a super reflective one too. It just like makes you want to drive around, in the backwoods of PA. Like Mac, and we kind of came up at the same time a little bit. I mean, he was definitely I think he was 27 when he died, and I think that was 4 or 5 years ago at this
Sounds
point.
familiar. I do remember hearing that he had died, not knowing who he was. But I think he is. I'm pretty sure he was 27 because there's the whole.
2018, yeah, he was 2018.
There's the 27 Club. Are you familiar with the 27 Club?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. And yeah, so yeah, that was, and like, honestly, like how people don't realize, and I've said this, but like he was the Cobain of our generation. And people, when I say that, I think people like get a little disrespected, like think I'm disrespecting. I don't think I'm trying to be that way, but like, just to explain to you, like if I can share a little bit of a story, when he passed away, I was literally sitting in the auditorium, like the convention center at IUP where I went to school, for the newspaper. We were just doing a table for like IUP day where like students walk around, they join new clubs and stuff, the 9 yards. And I saw that come through on the news, and someone came up to me and said something about it too. And but later that night, literally, we were all just sitting at Katie, my girlfriend's house, and it was like 4 or 5 of us, and we just listened to Mac pretty much all night. And by the end of it, man, there were some of us in tears. Like it was like you lost a brother, and
Mm-hmm.
I've never felt that. I don't think I'd ever feel that. I've never been super torn by a celebrity death. That's the only one in my whole life that it's ever like I felt like I lost someone.
It's interesting because when I was younger, for anybody listening who doesn't know, I'm 40. I just turned 40. I was born in 1982, so I grew up very much in like the early stages of hip hop and rap as we know it now. Like some of the like Wu-Tang was coming up when I was growing up. But also the grunge era, the early stages of like the post-punk, pop-punk kind of genres, the indie pop and all of that stuff. A lot of things that really formed where music is at now. So as you get older, it's interesting because these musicians start dying. And this is good. This is going to sound super morbid, but it's very true. Because think about who we've lost in the last like 3-4 years. Tom Petty, who I saw live at Red Rocks once.
Oh, you're lucky son of a bitch.
I had backstage passes, but that's a story for another time. Chris Cornell's gone. Chester Bennington's gone.
Yeah.
Scott Weiland is gone. And these are all recent deaths. Like I said, in the last like 5 years.
10, 15, Michael Jackson.
Whoever. Yes, Prince.
Yeah.
We lost Prince. I grew up listening to a decent amount of Prince. I won't talk about how much I did or did not
Juice
like
WRLD
Prince.
recently. Like Juice WRLD recently. He was a big one for my generation. And yeah.
MF Doom.
Yeah.
We just lost MF Doom, and he's multi-generational.
Nipsey, baby.
Nipsey, yep. It's interesting, though, when those things happen, because you could, like, when Chris Cornell passed away, I looked back and I thought about all of these moments that Soundgarden was in my life.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. The first music video I ever saw was Black Hole Sun on MTV. Wow. On accident at my grandpa's house because MTV was blocked at our house. And connecting the music to video, I'll never forget that. And Chris Cornell gave me that.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. We definitely lost Mac way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good music was left to come, but it makes me so much more thankful for the music we have of his. And it's not too often that I'll go back through some old albums and I'll find a song I'm like, oh my God, I was sleeping on this song for a long time. And the farther it gets past his death, I think we'll get new, unreleased stuff eventually. Heard of a lot of stuff teased before, just on socials and stuff. But yeah, man, it's sad, and like I think we have to appreciate these artists for what they give us when they are here, and
Absolutely.
they give us so much of their lives. Like Mac literally laid out exactly what he went through in life in his albums, which I think is why he's the most relatable, inspirational artist for me.
I love it. Well, and again, PA. So like, I get it, man.
Go, baby.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, Seth. Thank you for joining me. This was an awesome conversation. I'm so glad we got to do it on here in perpetuity. It will live forever on our YouTube channel. Somebody in like 500 years is going to find an old computer and watch this download and be like, what in the hell were these people doing? But that's okay. Hope somebody's watching us in 500 years.
Absolutely. Nate, absolute pleasure being on here with you tonight, man. I appreciate what you're doing here on Backtracks. Appreciate everyone out there watching tonight who's going to watch the replay as well. If you want more music from IBT, Powerful Playlist actually drops tomorrow. So
yes,
get on that. But Nate, appreciate what you're doing here, brother. Hope everyone has a great rest of their evening and an awesome weekend. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, guys. And make sure you are following Seth at between_SethFF on Twitter. Go find him on Facebook, Instagram. Find him between media at IBT_media. Folks, I'll see you next month.